By the fourth night, John was exhausted, desperate. The skinwalker prowled the property, circling shifting shapes that were almost human, almost not. He looked at his phone. The symbols had changed. They spelled his name. The faint light pulsed like a heartbeat. When he looked up, the front door was open. The night was still. No sound, no shadow, only the glowing screen. And then he realized the symbols weren't fading. They were moving toward him. He never answered, and he was never seen again. The storm had passed, but the silence it left behind was more terrifying than the wind's howl. I'm John, and this homestead has been my family's for generations. Now it feels like a cage. The floodwaters have turned my land into an island, and I'm not alone. They came with the receding waters. Creatures of nightmare whispered about in old tailies, skinwalkers. At first it was just unsettling sounds. A frantic scratching at the door, a voice that sounded like my father's calling from the edge of the woods. But my father's been gone for 10 years. The sounds got bolder. Heavy thuds against the walls, the shriek of metal as something clawed at the tin roof of the barn. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. I boarded up the windows, barricaded the doors, my heart hammering a frantic rhythm against my ribs. Every shadow danced with menace. Every creak of the old house was a footstep. I huddled in the kitchen, shotgun loaded, listening. The power was out, so my only light came from a flickering kerosene lamp. That's when I saw it. On the fogged-up kitchen window, a message was being drawn from the outside. A single long finger, unnaturally thin and tipped with a filthy nail, was slowly tracing symbols in the condensation. They weren't letters, not any I recognized. They were ancient, jagged, and seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a random attack. This was communication. They were trying to tell me something. As the finger finished the last symbol, it tapped the glass 3 times, a sound that echoed the finality of a gavel. Then it was gone. The scratching and howling stopped. An even deeper, more profound silence fell over the homestead. I was left alone with the cryptic message, the lamp's glow making the symbols seem to writhe on the glass. I spent the next few days in a state of high alert, trying to decipher the message. I searched through my grandfather's old books, journals filled with local lore and strange encounters. I found nothing that matched the symbols exactly, but there were fragments, whispers of a pact, a debt owed by my ancestors. The skinwalkers weren't just hunting me, they were collecting. The message wasn't a threat, it was an invoice. My valiant effort to fortify my home was pointless. They could have broken in at any time. They were toying with me, letting the dread marinate. I realized with sickening certainty that there was no escape. The water would recede, but they would remain. My family line had a dark secret, and the storm had just brought the collectors to my door. Last night, the voice returned. It wasn't my father's this time. It was a child's crying for help from the flooded fields. I knew it was a trap, but the sound was so full of despair. I gripped my shotgun, my knuckles white. The symbols on the window seemed to glow in my mind's eye. They weren't just a message. They were a choice I'm not sure I can make. The crying is getting closer now. I don't know if I'll see another dawn. What would you do? What price would you pay to survive? Thanks for listening. If you enjoy Tales from the Dark Corners of the World, make sure to follow for more.